again. Hi! So I'm making this video because so often I get like the same questions about teaching English in Japan like over and over and over again, and I have to, answer it every time. And I mean, I have answered these questions before, but like within the other videos, I haven't, expressly put them all together in like an FAQ of like teaching English in Japan. So that's why I'm making this video. So, once and for all, I can answer them. And I will say before I continue with this video that, you guys know that I love Busan Kevin's new book, Teaching in Asia, Tales from the Real Deal, and this will answer basically all of these questions, but in much, much greater detail. So if you want more information, go check out his book. It's really, 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 really a good book. I recently made a review on it, and I'll link you to that video, but really, this will answer all of them. So number one. Where do I find a job? So, Google. It's the age of the internet. That's how I found all of the jobs I applied to, was like through Google and like just searching, jobs in Japan, teaching English in Japan, ALT jobs in Japan, any of those things over and over and over and over and over again, and you just apply to everything. I really loved Dave's ESL Cafe. That was a really good one. Most of the jobs there are for teaching in Korea and China, but they do have like an international job board that does have some jobs in Japan and other places, but yeah, it's a pretty good website. Other ones, Ohio Sensei. Ohio Sensei is kind of like an e-newspaper where basically companies like Eikaiwas and other things like that that are looking for ALTs will, post like a little advertisement, like I'll just like send it to the people at Ohio Sensei, and they'll put it in this like, I think it's bi-monthly newsletter. If it's not, then it's definitely monthly, and it's a really, really great resource as well. Another good, well, it's sort of like an okay resource is Gaijinpot. Gaijinpot is really, really good if you are bilingual in Japanese and English, but most of the people in the world aren't, and most people who want to teach in Japan aren't, unfortunately. So it's not really that great, but what it is good for is telling you like the big names in the business, basically, that are looking for jobs. So I would say, instead of applying via Gaijinpot, because thousands and thousands of people apply to the same jobs that are on there, but if you go to their website, like sometimes those companies will have their own website, go there and apply there instead. I think that's a better route, but it's like one option. Okay, so number two, do I need a degree in education? No, you don't need a degree in education. I have a degree in art, like a BA in graphic design specifically, and I'm teaching here. A friend of mine, he has a degree in biochemistry. Like, none of us, I don't know anyone who actually studied education that's teaching here. It's totally, totally okay. And in fact, I think it would make you a little bit more interesting if you studied something totally different. Like you study music. Like, oh, really? Could you, play music in class? Like, it's something interesting and cool. So, yeah, you don't have to. Number three, do I need to speak Japanese? No, you don't. Before you come here, it's extremely helpful to know Japanese, like even just, like where's the bathroom, like really, really, really simple things like that. And also, knowing just like a really short introduction in Japanese that you can give to your Japanese coworkers is extremely useful, because especially if you're teaching in elementary school, there might not be anyone to translate your English into Japanese for your coworkers. But if you could just memorize even, so, hello, my name is, like something really, really, really simple, that would be really helpful. But yeah, it's definitely not necessary. I know a lot of people that have come here that didn't know any Japanese before, and now they're studying it, now they're learning it, but Yeah, not necessary at all. Not a requirement for teaching English in Japan. Number 4, do I need to be from an English-speaking country? No, you don't. If you are from an English-speaking country like America, Canada, Great Britain, Australia, New Zealand, you basically just need to have lived there like your whole life, or the vast majority of your life, and you're okay. If you are from a non-English speaking country, let's just take China as an example for some reason. So if you grew up in China and you really, really want to come to Japan to teach English for some reason, if you went through all 12 years of schooling, so kindergarten through when you graduated high school, all in English, then you're considered a native English speaker and can come to Japan to teach English. But it would be really difficult to come here if you don't have 12 years of schooling in English, if you're not from an English-speaking country. But, I mean, that's not to say you can't come here and teach your own language. There are jobs for, you know, German and French and other things like that, but they are much, much, much more difficult to find. But it's possible. It's definitely possible. Number 5. Can I come to Japan without a visa and get a job? Yes, you can. But it's illegal. You can. I do know people that have come here on tourist visas and have then found jobs. But the problem with that is you have to leave the country and then apply for your new visa in that other country. Usually it's Korea, and then come back. And it's not, immigration isn't really like that. They are a little suspicious if you know, leave the country and come back on a tourist, you know, with like a teaching visa. It's like kind of like, you know what I mean? Like it's a little iffy. I've also heard of people who have taught only on a tourist visa, but that's very, very illegal. You can't work at all with your tourist visa. So if you do choose to come here on a tourist visa and you find a job, make for absolutely, positively sure that that job will give you a official instructor visa. So like for like a 1-year visa or up to 3-year visa, like one of those. You need a visa, like a real visa. If that job is not going to get you a visa, you should probably find another job. You don't really want to be paid under the table. You don't want to be treated that way. So it's also very, very illegal. You don't want to be deported. Okay, number 6. So where will I be working? Like what type of places will I be working? There are 2 main areas where you could be working in Japan as an English teacher, and those are either one as an ALT, where you will be working and teaching in Japanese public schools. That's what I am. That's what I do. Or you could be working at an eikaiwa. So that is an English conversation school, and the hours are totally different. And you're not working for the public school system. And I think the visas are slightly different. The requirements are basically the same, but the visas are slightly different. So number 7. What if I only want to work in a big city like Tokyo or Osaka or Kobe? If you want to work in the city, it's very difficult to find a job in the city. It's much, much, much easier to find jobs outside of the city, like in like the more like country, rural type areas, because those are in much, much, much less demand. But you know, depends on how long your contract is, but if you have like a 1-year contract and you can stand living in the country, you can then during that time like find a nice job in the city. That's what a friend of mine did actually. I mean, it's definitely possible, but it's very difficult to find one right off the bat. Number 8. What if I have no experience teaching or no experience with children? Especially if you're going to be working with kids that might be, schools might be a little more hesitant to hire you if you have absolutely no childcare experience. Like you've never babysat before, you've never worked as a camp counselor, you've never done student teaching, never volunteered with small kids in some way, you know what I mean? Like, they're going to be a little bit more wary about hiring you. As far as working with adults, obviously childcare experience doesn't mean anything, you know what I mean? Like, it's not necessary at all. So really, it depends on what kind of job you're looking for. If you don't like kids, there's definitely opportunities out there to teach adults. If you do like kids and you want to work with kids, it's a little bit harder to do without childcare experience, but it's definitely possible. But having that childcare experience will put you a step up above those people that don't have any experience. So if you can, get some before you go. And it's also helpful in terms of like classroom situations. If you can understand the way a child's mind works, you can be a lot more forgiving and understand the students a lot better. Number 9. Is the salary enough to live on? Yes, it is. I'd say if I were, you know, supporting a family on my salary, it would probably be really difficult. I wouldn't want to support a family on my salary, but for just me, by myself, totally fine. Totally fine. I've never been like, I'm so poor, I have no money to go out for drinks with you guys. I mean, definitely, you know, be frugal and be careful with your money, but yeah, you'll definitely have a lot of money left over to spend, especially if you're working at an eikaiwa. They do generally pay a lot more than ALTs, so you're golden. Or if you work for Jet, oh my god. You'll be rolling in dough. Rolling in the money if you work for Jet. And the last one, number 10. Do you have any advice for me? My number 1 piece of advice is be flexible. Be flexible. You know, teachers are going to come up to you and be like, so, what are you doing next period? I'm like, oh, well, let's look at my schedule. It doesn't seem like I'm doing anything 4th period. Oh, could you do a class with me? Like, all of a sudden? Yeah! It happens all the time, or you know, you're all ready for the class, you go wait for the teacher, and then they're like, oh, class was canceled. What? You didn't tell me. Things like that will happen all the time. All the time. So if you're one of those people that everything has to be just perfect and just right, you might be pretty frustrated a lot of the time here. And being flexible isn't just in terms of like scheduling and things, it's being flexible with like Japanese culture, being flexible with the language barrier, being flexible with pretty much everything. That's my number 1 piece of advice. So yeah, good luck getting a job, and I hope this video helped, and I'm sorry it's kind of long, and I'm sorry if there are like screaming children in the background, because I have kids on either side of me in my apartment building, so yeah. But bye guys. See you next time. Bye!